wrestlers need to study this little nuance that John did last night and understand why he does it and how much mileage you can get out of it. And this is specifically for a heel when it comes to a microphone battle. Do you have any idea where I'm going?
I mean, after watching last night, I mean, it could, you could be going in a million different directions. It could be the eye contact that he had with Cody, the way he played with the crowd. This kid, in a lot of ways, what you're about to do is a bit of a master's class. So what was it? What was it that really grabbed your attention from John Cena last night?
So Cody and John are in the middle of the ring. Nobody has said a word yet. And here comes John Cena sauntering towards Cody Rhodes. And John Cena picks up that microphone and Cody's like, we heard enough from you. It's time for me to talk. And John Cena physically backs off and shows concern on his face. He is registering and he is selling Cody Rhodes, putting him in his place, which gives Cody more strength, more power. People will buy into Cody more because they're like, yeah, Cody, you tell him. So many heels these days don't do that. Especially female heels in the business who just sit there and kind of make the baddie look at the other female or like twirl their hair or roll their eyes. There's not enough registering of the verbal attack from the babyface. And John did it. And Dave, it was like the sky opened up and the rays of light came shining down to see a heel who's so confident in himself that he'll allow himself to back away. John had this look on his face like, whoa, I can't believe Cody had the guts to go there and cut me off that quick. He must really be on his game today. And he was. So I love it when I see heels respond accordingly to a babyface verbally firing up. It's so small, yet so subliminal, but it resonates with a crowd, and last night it did.
He was selling the crowd, and Cena's been doing that the last couple weeks. You don't realize how good John Cena is. He is he is one of the greatest. He truly is.
Dave, if you watched when Cena left the ring, when he turns his back and he walks out, he's standing on the apron with his back to Cody. And this is where Cody hits the line where he says, well, at least they don't chant, you can't wrestle. The crowd really jumps on that one, right? Normal heel behavior is, they do the look to the left, like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. And then the look to the right, like, oh my God, he can't. Like the overacting that a heel would normally do. John did it in just enough of a subtle way where you get the point across, but you're not chasing the boo. This is not chasing the hug. Chasing the hug is like chasing the pop. Please pop for me. There's also heels that chase the boo, like, I'm a no good, darn, dirty heel. Now you boo for me. He doesn't do that. It's just enough to get the people on board. And one person reacts to it, then the next person reacts to it, and it runs through to the arena. So when you say John and master level stuff, I don't think people truly understand, and it's almost impossible for people to understand unless you've been in the business for a long time and have an understanding and an appreciation for what he can do. It's like a surgeon who's been doing surgery for 30 years. If he's doing surgery in front of another veteran surgeon, only that surgeon can really appreciate how good this guy is with his medical instruments and his precision and how he stitches something back up. As a veteran, watching John do this, and I've been doing this longer than John, when I see those little things, the little things that used to mean so much back in the day that are almost forgotten about today, Dave, it's like a slap in the face. It's like a wonderful slap in the face of, wow, that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and were you surprised, shocked, or did you expect? Because all these things you're saying about John Cena, what were your feelings on Cody? Did it surprise you? Did it shock you that he was able to hang with John Cena last night?
If you are prepared to hang with John Cena, then I'm not shocked. There's enough stuff that Cody could have said to John that's going to resonate, that's going to land, and it did. So this is the third battle. It's almost like in boxing, we have great trilogies of boxing matches. By the time they get to the third fight, these fighters know each other well. And what does it basically come down to in the third fight, Dave? A slugfest.
Yeah.
We tried to technically box in the first one. In the second one, we adjusted our styles and we boxed and we fought a little bit. Third one, all right, let's stand in the middle of the ring and just see who the best fighter is.
It's true. It's like the first two fights are kind of like a feeling out process. You're kind of throwing jabs and just seeing the reach. And like, you're right. Last night was a slugfest, but you had that slugfest last night.
Cody was completely prepared for that slugfest last night. Now, I'm not saying Cody is prepared like, ooh, somebody wrote his lines for him. Cody could have spent time, during the week or on his bus or in the gym or doing whatever Cody does, fantasizing about going, back to fantasizing about the next Star Wars movie. Cody, in his mind, is like, all right, this is what happened week 1. This is what happened week 2. What am I going to do week 3? Like, let's just say if week 1, John won, and if week 2, it was a draw, how do I beat John Cena week 3? He's learned from the past 2 weeks. Thus, he can hang. Now, live microphones, no scripts, no time to think about it. I'm not so sure. Because that's how great John Cena is. If I'm picking 2 people to go out there with live mics and no scripts and I only have 2 microphones, I hand one to John, I hand one to Punk. And I go, go ahead, guys, go beat the shit out of each other verbally and let's see what happens. I think Cody did a great job, landed a lot of good blows. I think John... I don't even know if I could say John won. I don't know if anybody really won. Yeah, you can say because Cody hit the crossroads and left him laying, he won. But verbally, Dave, can you say that anybody won that more verbally?
No, I will just say that Cody hung with John Cena last night. Like, that would be like, to your analogy, that fight went the distance.
He's definitely disarming John about the lisp and about the tattoo. And that was one of the points I was going to bring up. I like that. But Stardust, meh. It just didn't resonate with me to bring up Stardust. I don't think it did any, like, was Cody disarming John because he thought he was going to bring up Stardust? Cody could have just said, well, you're not fighting Stardust at WrestleMania. As a matter of fact, he's not. He's fighting Cody Rhodes.
True, but maybe he's reminding John Cena that I am not that guy anymore. That guy that you knew of me when you were on top, I'm not that guy anymore.
I got booed in a company that I created.
It's true.
Yep.
It's true.
We've talked a lot on the show about how the AEW fans are what, I'm not going to say completely, AEW fans played a large part in driving Cody out of AEW.
And I always say it on the show, the AEW fans booed Cody at the end of his tenure there, and they booed CM Punk at the end of his tenure there. So, I mean, look what they've done to Jericho and a lot of the wrestlers that they absolutely loved at the start of the company and how they felt later on. Again, I've said this before. If I'm Cody, if I'm Punk, if I'm anybody, I don't know why you need to reference AEW. Now I know last night that wasn't a dig. That was, that's not Cody making a dig at AEW, which I think Punk has done, and I think he needs to really stop doing it because it doesn't get a reaction from the crowd. A lot of what was said got a reaction from that crowd. That line by Cody got zero reaction.
I don't
got
think
zero reaction.
I don't think Cody said that line to get a reaction from the people. I think he said that line just for the AEW fan as a little kick in the ass reminder of, I'm not there anymore because of you.
Maybe. I mean,
that's how I took it.
Get over it. Move on. I mean, it didn't get any reaction from the crowd, and I just
You're
feel
telling
like,
Cody to get over it, not me, right?
Yeah, get over it. Like, where you were then and where you are now, worlds apart. And I don't know why but maybe Cody feels like he needs to make a reference because he did start that company.
Dave, unless you've walked in a wrestler's shoes, and maybe here at SiriusXM, you can kind of understand it. But when you go through certain things in wrestling companies and you feel wronged, and it's almost impossible not to take things personally. We're taught at a very young age in the wrestling business, it's not personal, thick skin, yada yada. But at the end of the day, we're still human beings. Sometimes it's impossible not to take things personally. And I can understand, being somebody that's been in a position where I was forced to take things personally, I can understand how Cody and or Punk can still take things a little personally because, yeah, I made a lot of money over there, but it kind of took years. I don't want to say it took years off my career. It did affect me personally because I thought I was doing something right. I thought I was doing something good, and in an end, it just didn't work out. And it's like one of those relationships that comes to an end that you just can't get that bitter taste out of your mouth.
Yeah, this is even different in the fact that he started this company. This did a lot of...
Dude, to this day, I'm sorry to interrupt you. To this day, and I know you do it more in a joking way, but you'll take a dig at your first wife.
Oh, yeah.
Or the second one. I don't know which one you had the worst. You'll take it because it's still kind of bothers you in a way.
It's more in the thing that's probably even more relatable is I always bring it up. There was a certain executive at SiriusXM that didn't believe in me and didn't believe in the show. When I make those digs, that's for real.
There you go.
Like, that's for real. Like, that is for real. It's one thing with the relationship is 50-50. When it doesn't work out, I truly believe that when a relationship doesn't work, there's no good guy or bad guy. It's a lot of gray area. Like, you have to be honest with yourself, look in the mirror and say, I'm as much to blame why this didn't work as the person on the other side. But when it comes to somebody not believing in you, and when it comes to somebody trying to sabotage you, then it's different. AEW is a company that came from the brain of Cody Rhodes. I mean, because it all stemmed from the first All In. And listen, he didn't do it alone. Empires aren't built alone. Obviously, Tony Khan and the Bucks and Kenny, they're all a part of it. But Cody was a huge part of it. I'm sure there's a part of him that looks at AEW and he wants AEW to succeed because he took part in creating AEW. If AEW is still around, let's say AEW is still around 50 years from now, Bully, right? Still around. They're still going to mention Cody's name when they talk about AEW. Even though it's, he's 45 years removed from being a part of that company. When you're there from the ground floor, you're always going to be remembered. Cody's name, when AEW is spoken about, Cody's name is going to be mentioned. And when Cody's name is mentioned, AEW is going to be talked about for forever, as long as that company's around.
Agreed.
Unexpected to hear fans actually cheering when John Cena said he was going to win that belt and take it.
Not only did he say he was going to win the belt and take it, he said he was going to expose Cody for who he really was. Why did that get such a huge reaction? Why did that get such a huge positive reaction?
I don't know. Because up until that point, the fans were right on cue. But there was a section of fans. Go back and watch it visually. Go back and watch it. There was a group of Cena fans that jumped to their feet and cheered. Obviously, you could hear it when John Cena said he was going to win that championship at WrestleMania.
So what your assessment is, it wasn't the whole place that popped. It was the Cena fans in attendance that were extremely vocal in that moment in time.
When he hit that line, they jumped to their feet and cheered. Now, it's interesting because the next couple weeks, obviously, they're going to be in cities like Minnesota and Sacramento. Minnesota is a great wrestling area. I'm wondering what the reaction of the fans are going to be there. In the UK, extremely positive towards Cody, but I'm wondering how fans are going to react here in the States.
Is John Cena scheduled to be at either one of these Raws, or are these dates on his schedule?
Not as of now. He is not being advertised for the next 2 Raws. The next appearance he's being advertised for is WrestleMania 41.
I don't think that's a horrible idea. I kind of like it. Let Cody go out. Cody had a real strong night last night. Let Cody follow up for the next 2 weeks. Next time we see Cena, the shit is on, and hopefully, we don't see Rock until WrestleMania. I don't want to see Rock in Sacramento. I don't want to see Rock in Minneapolis. To me, it would like the whole. It's kind of like Star Wars. When you saw the Emperor, it meant something. I want to see Rock when it means something. I almost want to forget that The Rock is involved because John hasn't mentioned The Rock. Cody hasn't mentioned The Rock. They're kind of it's impossible to forget about Rock. But if you just leave it alone, enough people will forget that when the time's right and you hear that music, it's going to be like, oh my God, what now?
And I think that's why we got physicality last night, is because you're not going to see Cody and Cena face to face again.
Here's just a taste.
And I think, again, this is the hardcore wrestling fan in me. If you go to history and you really study, if that is the last time we see Cody and Cena together, it doesn't bode well for Cody. Because how did it end? The Crossroads, Cena laying flat on his back. Usually that means it's going to be the other way around once they meet. I still feel John Cena's winning his 17th World Championship at WrestleMania 41.
We're getting closer and closer to the meltdown of Dave LaGreca.
John Cena was, as you said earlier, John Cena was handpicked by Vince McMahon for all the reasons that you mentioned before. And I think with Cody, it was the fans. Cody coming back, Cody leaves not on the best of terms with the WWE, starts up a company in AEW, for a while created a lot of momentum and a lot of buzz, and gave especially Bully Triple H some headaches. Yes or no?
Yes.
Then Cody comes back. A lot of it is because of the fans. Triple H was doing right by the fans, and I really do feel like the reason why you see that championship title around Cody's waist is because of the fans. That line hit hard for multiple reasons. A lot of truth behind what Cody said to Cena last night.
Who brought Cody Rhodes back to the WWE?
Triple H.
Bullshit.
Vince McMahon.
Who went to visit Cody at his house with Bruce Pritchard?
Vince McMahon.
Who closed the deal on Cody Rhodes?
Vince McMahon.
How was Vince McMahon treating Cody Rhodes before the whole shakeup and Triple H took over?
Pretty damn good.
So why would I believe that Cody is not hand-chosen just as much as John Cena was?
But it was Triple H that pulled the trigger on him being the champion.
Because Vince was outed, or, he took off.
No, I know that. But listen, if Triple H was vindictive, he could have taken it out on Cody. Because Cody sure took it out on Triple H when he started up AEW.
There was a lot of investment already in Cody. The people like Cody. At the end of the day, Vince brought Cody back. Now, we can have the discussion. Did Vince McMahon bring Cody back because he saw Cody as the next John Cena and he felt the same way about Cody as he felt about Roman, and Cody's going to take us for the next 10 years, blah, blah, blah. Cody is my champion? Or was Vince like, this is a way to kick AEW in the balls?
I mean, maybe a little bit of everything. But
when Cody came in, Cody was given one hell of a push, a shove, and everything from the moment he came back under Vince's regime.
I mean, his re-debut was at WrestleMania against Seth Rollins, and he beat Seth Rollins.
A hell of a way to come back. So while Vince is in power, Cody is being treated really, really well. There is nothing about the way Vince treated Cody that would not lead me to believe that he would have continued to treat Cody that way if Vince was still around.
Surprised by the line.
No, I'm not surprised by the line, but you're getting the tip of the iceberg pop. Like, oh, I can't believe he went there. Like, yeah, John Cena, you were the chosen one of Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon courted Cody Rhodes. How many times do you have you heard of a story of Vince McMahon getting on his plane to go visit a talent to sign them?
Not much. Not much. It's usually the other way around.
He did it with Cody.
Yeah.
So Cody is as handpicked, not the same way John was handpicked. Listen, Vince liked the way John looked. But if we believe the stories, believe the folklore, John was on his way out before he cuts that promo for Stephanie.
True. But I also feel, Bully, that there is truth in what Cody was saying, that it was the people. Now, you're right about Vince McMahon, but at the end of the day, it's because of the fans wanting Cody Rhodes. Like, they didn't exactly use Cody the right way before he left to go to AEW. Like John Cena from day one was the guy. He was the chosen one. Cody was never the chosen one.
I don't think really that John Cena was the chosen one from day one. History does not say that. History does not say that. History says that John was on his way out. They were going to release him. How he's on death's door. He's about to get future endeavored. And what's the story? In a hotel or back of a bus, he starts riffing and rapping. And Stephanie's like, can you do that? Or whatever Stephanie said, can you do that off the top of your head? Can you do that on TV? And that's the moment in time. So John is not the chosen one from day one. John is not a Brock Lesnar. And how do I know Brock Lesnar was the chosen one from day one? Because I'm the guy that they gave Brock to first. They came to me and said, Bubba, this is the guy. When he was about to win the King of the Ring. I knew the Rocket. Dude, I had to sit down with Brock and said, Brock, this is when Brock is young. I said, Brock, they're about to do things with you that they don't do for many people. Just try to keep your head on straight. Don't let the ego get too big. Blah, 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 blah. I had a nice chat with him probably in the fourth row of the arena, right behind the announce desk, right before putting him over in the King of the Ring tournament. This is the whole thing with Steve. When Steve no-showed. Or Steve, went home. They knew what they wanted for Brock. Brock was the guy. Maybe even for Randy, too. John, different story. Was Vince looking to make Cody the next John, the next Randy, and the next Brock, the next anybody? I don't know. But we can only go by what we do know. And everything points to the fact that Vince was high on Cody Rhodes.
Cena got a lot of blame, but it was not him that was making the creative decisions. It was Vince McMahon. The WWE creatively was in a dark place when Cody left, but I don't think you could put all that blame on John Cena. But John Cena was the poster child for that era.
at the end of the day, when anybody that becomes world champion in the professional wrestling business becomes world champion because creative have put them in that place. And you have to write for that world champion just like you have to write for the opening match. And unless you write well enough for that world champion will never have the opportunity to draw money. Let's go back to Bob Backlund, one of the most vanilla world champions of all time. But Bob did really well as a world champion for years.
Yep.
Why?
He sold out the Garden.
Because they knew the recipe for Bob. Feed him a fresh heel every 3 months. A fresh heel every 3 months. Every once in a while, you got your super heel, like a superstar Billy Graham or whoever, and it lasted a little bit longer. But Dave, as kids, we remember, okay, here comes the masked superstar, 3 months. Here comes Wild Samoan #1, 3 months. Here comes, Jimmy Snuka.
Wild Samoan #2.
Yeah. Just that was the recipe. Keep feeding him heels and let them get heat and let Bob be the comeback kid. It worked. So it's how creative writes for you. What words do they put in their mouth? What matches do they give them? What opponents?
Let me ask you this. Now, there's a lot of people that took that as if Cena was referencing Tony Khan. I didn't take it that way. I took it as he referenced Vince McMahon, and he's referencing Stephanie McMahon and Triple H. That's how I took that line.
Vince McMahon paid Cody, not Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. Vince McMahon cut Cody's deal. So take that logic and throw it right out the door.
So you think that was about Tony Khan?
How could it not be? Vince McMahon is the one that signed Cody Rhodes' contract and agreed to Cody Rhodes' price.
And when I heard it at the time, I thought he was referencing Triple H and Stephanie McMahon.
But Triple H and Stephanie McMahon are not the ones who did the Cody Rhodes deal.
I mean, but I don't know how long. Like, here's the thing: they're in charge now, and Cody's the guy that's on top in the WWE.
They're in charge now. Vince McMahon is the one that went to Cody Rhodes' house with Bruce Pritchard, negotiated the deal, got all of Cody's wants, needs, downside, boom. Vince McMahon is the one who did Cody's deal.
I feel like that was John Cena throwing that line back in Cody's face where like, yeah, man, I helped build an empire. You're just taking money from his show. Meaning that Triple H is on top right now. Vince is gone. But Cena helped build an empire where you're just collecting from the kids. Tony Khan didn't even enter my brain. As a matter of fact, it wasn't until I had a conversation with Paul before our show where Paul's like, people like, because I told you I'm not on Twitter. So I am not seeing that until Paul referenced it to me this morning. When I heard it yesterday, I completely thought that was John Cena throwing the Vince McMahon line back in Cody's face.
To me, it wasn't even, it was definitely him talking about AEW. And there's enough gray area. Look at the way you took it. There's enough gray area where people there's enough wiggle room where like, no, that's not what I meant. But if Triple H was the one to do Cody's deal, then I get it. Now, from the day Cody signed with the WWE until right now, I don't think I've heard of Cody re-signing with the WWE. Has Cody's contract been extended, or did he sign a new deal? Did he negotiate a new deal with Hunter and Stephanie?
It's possible. I really don't know. But anything that's going on now, like collecting money from Fanatics or any of the deals that have been made over the last few years, that is not because of Vince McMahon. That is because of Triple H and Nick Khan. So that's why, again, I took that line as Stephanie and Triple H. Now, if you want to,
you know what the beauty of the line is? You could take it both ways.
Holy shit, man! There were a lot of haymakers in that promo last night, and I can't listen. We can interpret a lot of what happened in that, in that 22-minute segment from last night. Make no mistake, I thought that was a home run last night. And from both Cody and John Cena.
We were talking about boxing matches earlier. That verbal back and forth reminded me of Marvin Hagler versus Tommy Hearns from back in the day. And Hagler Hearns was nothing but haymakers for like 2 or 3 rounds.
I don't think either one threw out the knockout punch.
No,
I don't think there was a
no.
knockout.
It was the
punch, though.
physicality was the quote unquote knockout punch, but verbally they all hit their lines.